Hey, brother. Great building stuff. As a general rule, I'm gonna go through your list with you and figure out what you should focus on, what you should ignore. As a general rule, I am extremely precise about the buildings that I have planted, and the purpose of them, with the exception of Oracle. I do love my Oracle, but ultimately that is a joke. So if you're ever in doubt, just go through my great building list and kind of follow that template. Statue of Zeus and OBS are not necessarily bad. Like I wouldn't delete them, but I'm probably not gonna level them above where they're at currently. Everything else in this list, including Oracle of Delphi for me in my case, but everything else in this list can be leveled up basically to infinity, and it's going to be justified. A statue of Zeus and OBS. I mean, let's look at some actual numbers here. 85% red shield, red sword on Zeus. This is level 120. But compare that to something like a Shrine of Knowledge. I think I got them buried back here. Yeah. There's 132% red and blue plus 82 forge points on a 3x3. You know what I mean? So the statue of Zeus is not necessarily bad, but compared to other buildings on the same footprint or at least similar footprint, it doesn't even hold a candle. Same concept with OBS there. 90% over 90 on blue metrics. Let's see what we have that'll compare with that on the blue. Let's see. What are these guys? Oh, that's all quantum stuff. Oh, some of these serpent fins actually would probably match that. There you go. 40 over 40 on a 2x2. So half the size of OBS, right? There's 4 squares. OBS consumes 9 squares. So I get 40 over 40 off of a GE trinket, you know? And OBS is giving what was it? 90? Yeah. So not saying delete Zeus or OBS, but I wouldn't really focus on those. Compared to something like Stellar Warship, though, 440% attack, ton of units, plenty of attack boost on a 3x5. This is a building worth investing in. Same logic with any of the Saturn Great Buildings, 516% attack on a 4x4. Okay, that's pretty hard to beat. Pegasus, 700% blue with 280 forge points on a 4x4 compared to the OBS, right? 90 attack, no forge points. 700 attack, 280 forge points. Probably a good thing to invest your forge points in. Let's jump back into your great buildings. Basically, I mean, honestly, I would encourage you to copy my great building roster. At least you don't necessarily have to do it in the order that I've done it, but at least copy my roster. You can omit Oracle if you want. I'm gonna talk shit about you if you don't have an Oracle in your city, because Oracle is awesome and it's beautiful. But if you choose not to build an Oracle, I wouldn't blame you. Other than that, though, probably copy my whole roster. Let's go. Let's go through your list real quick, and I'm gonna explain some like big picture strategy about why like I've had every building that you currently have. I've had those at one point or another. I had a chateau. My chateau was level 130 when I deleted it, actually. All of these things serve a purpose. There's a time and a place for them, but I think you can actually probably delete most of them. And Do it systematically. So that's what I'm going to help you kind of map out, is a system for which one to delete first, what you're going to replace it with, and then focus, like laser focus, on the Centaurus, right? That's one of the ones that we just pulled up on my city. I don't even know. Looks like you don't even have a Pegasus yet. Probably something that you need to add, right? So let me pause it real quick. I'm gonna grab a beer and a smoke. But I'll make a little video for you, and I'm gonna map out what you need to work on, what you need to delete, and in what order to do that in. All right, let's get into it. It's probably gonna be easier if I'm looking at your city actually, just visually. There's two key ideas here. Number one is the cost of the building that you're working with, and number two is the trade-off. Let me help you with your roads sometime, because you got some inefficiency automatically that I can see. Let me help you with your roads sometime. So let's start with Traz versus Stellar Warship. What is your Traz giving you currently? As far as troops, I mean. So you get 98 units out of Traz. I don't know what you're getting out of Stellar Warship. It's probably not much. You're only getting 16 out of Stellar Warship. But I've leveled my Stellar Warship up to the point where I'm getting 176. So almost double what you're getting out of Traz. I don't have a Traz, though. I'm getting all of the troops, all of the additional troops that I need from Stellar Warship. And I am a slacker when it comes to GBG, so take it with a grain of salt. I don't really use my troops, so they are easier to accumulate. But when I do hit GBG, I can go to pretty high attrition, and obviously I'm not worried about losing troops, right? So Traz versus, let's get back into your city, Traz versus Stellar Warship is the question here. And the answer is to consolidate the benefit of both into the smallest possible building that you can. But in this case, it's going to be Stellar Warship, right? But Stellar Warship is expensive to level. So the strategy, and this is going to apply to a lot of the great buildings that you have currently, the strategy is to remove the benefit of Traz, delete Traz, but fill the space with small things that give lots of forge points in order to accelerate the growth of the more efficient option. Does that make sense? Are you with me so far? Same logic is going to apply to a lot of these buildings. Anything guild goods related, and that's going to be Atomium, AI core. I assume that you're probably done with AI core. Like that's a helpful building to get into Space Hub, but once you are in Space Hub, there's really no reason to have the boost on your Arctic or oceanic portals. There's really no benefit to that anymore. The primary benefit of AI core is just getting to Space Hub in the first place, but now that you're here, I don't really think you need it. Same with Atomium. Good on you for being a team player, but we have plenty of... I mean, I don't think we're hurting on the Space Hub goods. Yeah, we only have 20 million of each. Yeah, so good on you for being a team player, but it's just not needed for the guild. It is possible that you need Atomium for the happiness that it provides. That is a possibility. I don't necessarily know that to be true about your city. 27,000 happiness, I guess that's a possibility. The alternative would just be to run your Oracle of Delphi up to level 200. I don't know. Alright, sorry. Let's get back into it. So going down the list here, let's kind of thin things out. Cosmic Catalyst and Arctic Orangery should be probably your top priorities. I'll come back to that, but keep that in the back of your mind. The purpose of Terracotta Army is attack, right? There's no other benefit to the building other than attack. But break down the attack per tile that you get off a Terracotta Army versus something like QI. So if you don't have a lot of QI buildings, you're not going to be able to immediately replace Terracotta Army, but you can delete Terracotta Army and replace the same space with buildings that do help you accomplish more in QI, and then take your QI rewards to plant Neo Shrines of Knowledge or whatever floats your boat. Same logic applied to Cathedral of Aiken. Both of these are attack buildings. But we've already looked at my city, and the attack buildings, in terms of great buildings that I'm using, are pretty minimal. It's just 3 or 4 attack buildings that are insanely efficient per tile, right? So Terracotta Army, I think I deleted it at like level 100, 110, something like that. Same with Cathedral of Aiken. Himeji, I got mine up to level 90 or so, but before I deleted it. Flying Island, I never had, never wanted it, and it's because by the time it came out, I had already deleted my Temple of Relics, and the mechanics of those are pretty similar. It's going to give you trinkets off of a side part of the game, but consider the amount of space that it's consuming in your main city. Are the trinkets that is giving me more valuable than a 6x6 in my main city? And the answer for me is going to be no. There's a lot of things that I can find use for on a 6x6. Zeus and OBS, stop leveling them up. You would not be wrong to delete those, honestly, but just for the here and the now, just at least stop leveling them up. Don't spend your forge points on them. You wouldn't be wrong if you deleted them, but it's kind of hasty. Cape Canaveral, here's a good example. Level 82 gives 82 forge points, right? And then kind of circle back to the Neo Shrine of Knowledge, there's 82 forge points, right? Plus the boost that I'm getting, 132% boost, and some of that boost is coming from 6x6 buildings like Eco Sanctum that also give forge points as well as forge point boost. Probably a good replacement for something like a Temple of Relics or Himeji Castle, anything like that, right? With me so far? Castle de Monte, same concept. We want attack out of it, plus we get some forge points, more efficient things in the game. Kraken is a waste of space. I deleted mine as soon as I power leveled mine to 60 and then deleted it like a day later because I realized that I was dumb for even planning it in the first place. Space Carrier, I did like mine. There is some diamond benefit to Space Carrier, but nowadays, is so stingy with diamond assignment, and especially when it comes to expedition, most of the diamonds that you get are predetermined on the reward nodes. So in terms of actual diamond production, the best way to generate that is going to be from your these GBG reward things, aka the more you can fight, the more diamonds you can generate. You're really not going to get that from Space Carrier the way that it used to be, so that I would delete. If you have a smaller city on a different server, like if you have a city in Houndsmore or whatever. Probably keep a space carrier in the smaller city because it will potentially feed diamonds to this main city. But if this is the only city you play on, delete the space carrier. That's really the only appeal there is diamonds, but there's other ways to get it and more efficient ways to get it at that. Let me pause real quick. I think you get the idea. True's Tower, good for goods, which the main appeal with True's Tower is that you could potentially get Titan goods if you're in like colonial era and you have a truce tower. That's kind of the appeal there, but you're already in Space Hub, so you don't need Space Hub goods. Your city is producing way more than this will ever produce. This is giving you one good per aid, and it's limited to 50, right? If you really want hub goods, just collect your eternal market, and there's 580, you know? The appeal with Truce Tower is that if you're in colonial, there's no way that you'll ever get space hub goods. So that's the appeal with Truce Tower, is that you get a good based on the era of the people that you're aiding. I guess it's possible that you need lower era goods, but again, there's other ways to accomplish that. So the bottom line here is that all of these buildings have a purpose at some era in the game. Like there was a time when you needed Alcatraz in order to be able to fight, but your city has evolved past that point, so you need to let go of Traz. Same with Space Carrier. There was a time when you needed Space Carrier in order to get to Hub era, but now that you're in Hub era, you don't need that building anymore. Same logic applied to AI Core. There was a time when Galata Tower was awesome for goods. 34 goods every 24 hours. If you're getting plundered, then my advice is not to build a great building that makes you invincible to plundering. My advice would be to amp up your defense to the point where anyone that tries to plunder you is gonna just get fucking wrecked, you know? I can't remember the last time. Lily Lou, I think, was the last person that actually was successfully able to plunder me. And at the time, it was funny. I had just moved to Space Hub, and I was using Titan era goods as my defense, and my defense is pretty, like, it's pretty crummy defense lineup. But the percentage applied to it is pretty hard to argue with. You know, you don't need a great building that protects you from getting plundered. Just make your city not plunderable, you know? All right, let's wrap this up. Cathedral of Aiken, Terracotta, Castle Diamante, Kraken, same thing. Same concept with all of those. Those are attack buildings, but the amount of space that they consume is preventing you from planning other buildings that also give attack boost, right? Like the Neo Shrines. Lots of attack boost, plus forge points, smaller footprint, and roadless. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, when in doubt, you can honestly copy my roster. I'm pretty lean and mean. I don't have a chateau because I don't like to do recurring quests. I don't have Terracotta Army, COA, anything like that, because the attack percentage per tile isn't really that impressive to me. Especially when you're looking at, you know, something like this where you're getting like this is 2/3 of the size of a CDM, and it's 440% attack compared to the 70% or whatever off the CDM, you know. Pretty lean and mean. Oracle of Delphi is my trophy in terms of unnecessary buildings, but I'm going to continue leveling up my Oracle of Delphi until 200 or whatever. Just whatever. I like the Oracle of Delphi. It doesn't really matter why I have it, but I do like it. Point is, for the most part, my great building selection is pretty lean and mean. And I've replaced that footprint, like, okay, here's a 4x6. That's the same footprint as a COA or a TA. This is giving me QI benefit first and foremost. That's the thing that's helping me generate more of those shrines of knowledge. Plus, it's giving forge points and attack boost. Let's look at other similar comparisons. Here's a good example. Same footprint as Cape Canaveral, giving at a minimum 121 forge points. Good substitute for Cape Canaveral, right? Let's look at CDM. This is 5x5 on the Lagoon. Probably a good substitute to the CDM because it's giving forge points, which CDM gives, as well as attack benefit. So for every great building out there, there's typically a better event hardware option. In other words, delete Traz, fill the space with something that gives forge points, take the forge points, and level up attack buildings. The goal is not to print more troops, the goal is to print stronger troops. So, final thought here in terms of order of operations for you, I would strongly recommend that you start with AO. Cosmic Catalyst is also good. Level that up as much as possible. Cosmic Cat is also extremely expensive. So let's compare those two real quick. 25% critical hit at level 100, and my last level cost me 97,000 forge points, right? Arctic Orangery is going to be a little more expensive, but also consider the fact that it's over level 200, giving 50%. And it is more expensive, but not by much. It's only 140,000 versus the 90,000 on Cosmic Cat. Both of those start with AO. AO is going to be cheaper. Once you get to AO like level 130, 140, you'll see a pretty remarkable shift in the critical hit effect, especially in GBG. Not so much in Expedition or anything like that, because that's kind of a grab bag. Sometimes you're fighting against Titan era troops where the critical hit is not going to be applied. But in GBG, when you're fighting era versus era, the Arctic Orangery at like level 130, 140, you'll notice a pretty significant difference where your troops aren't necessarily stronger, right? Like this doesn't mean that you've leveled up your Centaurus or your Hydra or anything like that, so your attack is going to be the same. The difference with leveling up the buildings that give critical hit is that your attack is the same, but the enemy dies more frequently without even leveling up your attack. So once you get Arctic Orangery, I would say at least level 140, get your Cosmic Cat up to like level 30, 40, you'll see a pretty huge difference in your GBG stats. And then obviously take the space that you're saving from deleting other great buildings, fill that with forge point ability, and level these guys up to 100, 180, whatever. Keep pushing those critical hit buildings up until your forge point limit, basically. You'll notice a pretty serious difference though, and then when you circle back and start leveling up some of your Saturn great buildings like Centaurus or Pegasus, combined with the critical hit, it's pretty unstoppable. I don't really do GBG, so it's it's more for show for me. But if that's something that you're trying to work on, that would be my recommendation is AO first, get it up to 140, and then stellar worship here and there. Maybe set a goal and do one level a week. Try to get it up to level 50 or something like that. So I think that's it, bro. Hopefully this was helpful. The big idea, the big takeaway is that a lot of the great buildings that you have were useful at earlier eras in the game. Like I had a St. Mark's Basilica, and I loved it because in the beginning of the game you need coins, and it was a great coin producer. But nowadays I don't need coin, so I don't have a St. Mark's Basilica. You know, a lot of the great buildings that you have are not relevant to us anymore in Space Hub. So focus on the ones that are extremely efficient at attack, forge points, troops, anything like that. Stellar Worship is extremely efficient on troops. Yes, it's expensive to level, but you have the real estate in a Space Hub city to produce all the forge points you need to be able to accomplish that. Make sense? Alright, bro. Hope it helped. Talk to you later.